Hey, you want to see something really scary?
What's your favorite scary movie?
I'm gonna scare the hell out of you.
What was living behind that boy's eyes was purely and simply evil.
They're coming to get you, Barbara.
When there's no more room in hell, the dead will walk here.
What's blood for, if not for shedding?
Welcome to Fright Night.
Welcome to Jump Scare. I'm Betty.
And I'm Shad.
This week we're continuing the Aliens of '88 with Phantasm II.
Phantasm. The delusion of a disordered mind. A phantom. A spirit. A ghost. For 10 years, the secret of Perigord Cemetery has remained a mystery. Now, 3 innocent people are about to discover the ultimate evil.
You think that when you die, you go to heaven. You come to us.
We've got to warn people. This summer, the ball is back. Phantasm II.
It's only a dream.
It's a dream.
No, it's not.
Rated R.
Obviously, this movie came out in 1988. It
35 years ago. That's right. A long time ago. So long ago that I was still in high school.
Yes, a long time ago. The original came out in 1979, so it took a while for this sequel to come to be. Obviously, you may or may not know, doncoscarelli, independent filmmaker, has to come up with the money. He's not really backed by like a huge studio, even though this one
actually
was backed by a studio.
This had the biggest budget of any of the Phantasm movies. And the budget was $2.5 million.
It made its money back.
Yeah.
And
what was the face when you said it made its money back? What was the face?
So, when you see like in a Facebook page or like some question someone throws like, give your most unpopular horror opinion, like that kind of shit. I'm the fan of I'm not a fan. I'm just like, Phantasm. Like, I don't see what the hype is. Like, it's like okay for me. At one point, I think I did like it. But then when you just watch them all together, which I hope I never have to do ever again for as long as I live.
When did you watch them all together?
Oh, I don't know. It's been a couple of years, but that's not going to change the fact. It's not going to change the fact that the story is all over the place. We don't really know what the fuck is going on. Like, it's so off. It's so inconsistent. And I don't like that. I just don't like the inconsistency. Now, let's talk about the character of Mike. Okay?
Yes.
Who we see in this movie, there's a combination of present Mike, which is played by another actor, a different actor from the first one, because it's 8 years later, right? So, yeah. And then Kid Mike, who they just obviously took from the first movie and just added those scenes in, which is done well. They did that well. That when they hide his face, he's kind of dragging in the ground, so it's like obviously a small individual, and I don't mean like a small person. I mean like just maybe like a small, actual person.
This was a kid.
Or a kid. Who knows? So they put a wig on, they threw the 70s like fucking bell-bottom jeans, called it a day.
Put some 70s clothes and feather his hair out a little bit. It's the kid from the 70s movie.
Yeah. But he just didn't have that. He just wasn't a working actor like the actor that played the original Michael Baldwin. I can't with the
yeah. A. Michael Baldwin.
Yeah, because I know what
like a random guy, just like, it's not Michael Baldwin, it's A. Michael Baldwin.
You know, that SAG-AFTRA, that you can't have the same name as someone else. If there was a Michael Baldwin in there, even if they did like the smallest thing, you can't have the same name. It's a whole thing. So yeah, A. Michael Baldwin.
This was one of the things that the studio just said, no, we want someone else to be the lead of the movie, because most of the people in the movie, to be honest, from the original one, they really weren't actors. They were just friends of Don Coscarelli's that had been in his previous movies. And
they all did a great job. I have no quorum about the acting from the first film. The first film, obviously classic. It's a classic film. I have no issue. Is it a bit boring? I mean, when you've seen it 500 times, it's like, it's fine. But trivia, Brad Pitt actually auditioned for the role of Mike Pearson.
How much different would it have been? Would you think it would have caught on if Brad Pitt had been the lead in this?
I don't even know, because I don't even know. 1988, so really we don't see Brad Pitt until when he gets big, which is in Thelma and Louise. That's like early 90s, right?
Like 3 years later.
So yeah, it took a while for him to get there. But I don't know. I can't even see him be in this role. The guy that they got is fine. He did a fine job. We have Angusscrimm. He's come back to play the role of the tall man. We have Reggie coming back to play
Reggie.
I love when they do that, because I'm sure it just makes it so much simpler for the actor.
Yeah, it's Reggie. He plays the character of Reggie. Please call him Reggie.
And, you can't have a Phantasm film without having, a bunch of women running around. Maybe they're topless. Maybe there's a scene where they're going to do something. But alas, it's really the tall man. Let's not even get into
that was the first one. They skipped that part in this one where the tall man may or may not be turning into various women to seduce people at the cemetery. They left that part out of the 80s version. They were like, yeah, the 70s people were a little cooler with that, but it's the 80s now, and we're going to cut down on that element a little bit.
And I'm going to tell you right now, if there was a woman, this is a movie right now, there is a woman in the cemetery. She's hot looking. She's just walking around the cemetery, and she approaches me. Whether I'm a man or a woman, whatever, however you're living, I'm a human breathing that's, alive. And I get approached, and she's down to pound. Like, she's ready to go at it in the cemetery.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be like, is this a ghost? Am I fucking a ghost? That's my first thought. I don't know if it's just me. Obviously she's not gonna be a zombie because her flesh isn't rotting. Even if she was like newly out of the ground, she would still have like dirt on her and stuff like that, right? Like maybe worms in her hair. I don't know how long she's been in the coffin, but I really have to take a sec. Like, what was the thought process in that first movie? Like, yeah, this is something that could happen. Some attractive woman would approach you in the cemetery and then want to bang your bones. Like, and you're cool with it. You're like, you're cool. But that just goes to show the way the men think. Just, they're like, you know what? She's ready. And I'm going to give it to her. I'm going to be the lucky guy that was around at the cemetery. But anyways, I digress. Let's go back to Phantasm II. So, Phantasm II. Here we are, X amount of years later. Guess what? Mike, he's in an insane asylum because, he crazy, right? He going around talking about that this man is going around robbing people out of the grave. Like, there's no, graves around. This is what I told Chad when I was watching the movie. You think after all of this shit happened to me, I'm going to be like, I'm going to go and I'm going to get this tall man. I don't even know what he's about. Is he, what is he? He's a monster? Like, I have no idea. But me, I'm going to be the one to go and take him out with ice cream man, like, balding, receding hairline ice cream man. Me and the ice cream man.
Why is everyone fixated on the guy's hairline in this movie? They're all like, Reggie, you're bald and middle-aged. We can't be fighting this guy. What does his baldness have to do with his monster fighting abilities?
You know what it means? It means he couldn't even keep a track of his own motherfucking hair, okay? He couldn't even keep that. So how he's gonna possibly keep a track of going after this monster?
This was the 80s, and hair was still a big deal. I remember when Star Trek The Next Generation came out. It was everybody's joke that the captain was bald. Oh my God, the captain of the Enterprise is going to be bald? How can you have a bald guy be the captain of the show? That's ridiculous. Captains have hair. and went on and on and on about it. And then later, like now, no one cares. Have hair to your waist, be bald, no one gives a shit. But in the 80s, it was still a little bit hung up on the shit from the 70s where you had to have you had to stand in the wind with your fucking hair flowing out behind you and everything, male or female, it had to be flowing out there. Yeah, no one gives a shit now. If they made these movies now, Reggie could be bald, he could have a mohawk, no one would care. That would never be mentioned. But back then, everybody hung up on the fact that Reggie was bald.
Also, no offense to Reggie, the character and the man played by Reggie, named Reggie, as we earlier mentioned. He's just not attractive. That's another thing. Like, your baldness, like, you're not even cute in the face. Now you got no hair. Like, that's why they had to accompany him with a young guy. Mind you, I think that was the other thing. They were like, we need a guy with flowing fucking hair. Like, he needs to have a nice set of hair to, like, offset this balding dude. I don't know why it was a thing. Even angusscrimm had fucking hair, okay? And we find out he's not even from this fucking dimension. Ish, maybe. I don't know. Whatever. We'll see in the other movies.
From another dimension.
Fine. Yes, he's from another dimension where it's hot and it looks like Terminator fucking 2, like when they go back in the fucking when they go in the future and everyone's like, it's fiery out there and, you know, there's explosives and it's just like, okay, I again, the movie's gonna make me digress all over the place because there's some things I just can't let go, but we're gonna fast forward. So yes, so we have him, Mike. He's gonna get out on good behavior. I'm like, he's been there for 7 years, dude. First of all, he hadn't hurt nobody. Fine, a house exploded, whippity fucking do. But he had some trauma.
But here's the thing that I always question about this is, like, Reggie seemed to be, like, forgetting about the tall man, too. It was like, yeah, you kind of made that up. That was all just in your imagination. Like, but Reggie, you saw that shit. You saw the tall man at the house. You saw the house blow up. You kind of knew that was a thing. But maybe he lost his memory or something. I don't know. They're kind of unclear on that part of it.
They are unclear on that. And I think maybe it's one of those things where either it's a psychosis thing, like the trauma was so bad that he literally had to, like, hide that deep away within himself and forget about that because he was not going to be able to live life. Like, you can't live life knowing that there's some being out here robbing fucking bodies, decimating towns, like, and you're just gonna go about your day going back to fucking ice cream seller. Like, that's just not a thing. Or that was, like, the side effect of, like, the tall man. Like, if he's not around you and his presence is not around, you, like, kind of, like, forget about it because he's that's, like, his energy, like, whatever. Maybe he's like one of those, like, energy, like, sucking vampires, like, kind of thing. I don't know. I don't even think doncoscarelli knows what this what the tall man truly is. Okay, so now we have them. Now they're back together, and you're right. Reggie does seem kind of aloof about the whole thing. Like, okay, I knew it would find you here because, of course, he's released, and Mike is like, you know what? My first thing is gonna be, I'm not gonna try to get laid. I'm not getting a job. Fuck, I'm not even going to McDonald's to have a fucking 29-cent fucking hamburger. I'm gonna go and start digging up fucking graves.
First of all, how long ago? This movie happened 35 years ago, not 55 years ago. The McDonald's hamburgers were not 29 cents in 1989.
You're right. Maybe they weren't 29 cents. But you know what was 29 cents in 1989? A White Castle burger, which is my New York ass is thinking about White Castle burgers, okay? Fine. It was $1.25. Whatever it was, it is not no damn $10 for a meal like it is today. So, regardless, fine, he could have a malted shake from the Shakedown Diner. Like, whatever. That's my first thing. Like, I've been eating fucking, like, asylum food, which tastes like cardboard, okay? It's garbage. I'm hungry. Like, I need to fucking eat a real... And he's a strapping 19-year-old guy. Like, he needs to eat a real fucking meal. But, fine. So, that's what starts the movie. And, I don't know.
They go back to Reggie's house, and as they're on the way back to Reggie's house... Mike has the vision where the tall man is like, hey, remember when Reggie turned off all the pilot lights on the stove in his house and blew it up and killed all my dwarves and everything before? Yeah, well, I'm in your house now, turning off all the pilot again. So Reggie's house explodes and kills his entire family.
While he's riding up to the house, his entire family, which was 3 people. I mean, fine, it was 3 lives lost, but I mean, you act like it was like a 10 people house.
Yeah, so then that's when they decide to head out on the road in Reggie's fancy Himikuta and start going after the tall man. And one of my favorite scenes in the movie is when they break into the hardware store to just steal all their weaponry. At first, you see them like they just break in, they're getting all the guns, they're getting all the blowtorches, the axes, hammers, sledgehammers. They make the blowtorch thing, they put like 3 tanks together of like propane to make it into a torch. They take the 2 shotguns, tie them together with fucking cables and saw them off and make a quadruple barrel shotgun, which they end up using a few times in the movie, but not nearly enough because I wanted to see that thing used more. And then after they take all this shit, all the ammo, the tools, all this stuff, they open up the cash register at the place and leave $200, which I love. They took way, even in 1988, they took way more than $200 worth of shit.
I was going to say, maybe it was worth $200. You're assuming it's $200. There may have been more bills behind there. Nevertheless, at least he left something. Me, I would have just robbed the place. I wouldn't even have left shit. I would have actually taken... I was like, I'm surprised they didn't... I thought he was opening the cash register to take the money out. Because they're on the road. They got no jobs. Like, Reggie has a bank account. What kind of money can he have for being... Like, we don't even know what his profession is. Because they say ex-ice cream man.
Well, he quit being an ice cream man whenever he was...
There's no one in the town to fucking give ice cream. Everyone is dead.
Well, his family was still there.
He was selling ice cream to his family, to the 3 people in his fucking household.
I'm just saying there were still people living in the town at that point.
I don't know about that. But I have to say, the reason obviously that happens is because Reggie was not on board. Reggie didn't get on board until the tall man went after his family. And then he's like, oh yeah, I guess I'll go and help you there, Mike, because, they killed my family, and now he has to, like, go for revenge against the 3 people that died in his family. I know, I can't get over the fact.
How many is an acceptable amount? It needed to be 6 people die in the house before it was fine for you? Like, 3 people, you can't swear revenge, but 6, that's cool.
That was his whole family, so I guess that's what made it sad, because he had no other family left. He didn't even have an ice cream truck left. He had nothing. He didn't have ice cream, but apparently he had $200 in his pocket.
Well, the insurance money for the house. I'm sure the house was insured. At least one of the people had insurance. It was his aunt and 2 other people, so we don't really know who the other 2 people are.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. They now belong to the tall man.
Yeah. So then they head out on the road looking for the tall man, and, they run across a few creepy things here and there.
But wait, before you move forward, I know I've been talking a lot, and I've been saying a lot of kooky stuff, but we forgot to mention the main motherfucking thing of this movie. Because I don't know what was going on in, like, the 80s, specifically, let's say from, like, 1984 to, like, 1989. But, of course, there has to be a woman that has a psychic connection. She actually is the one who starts the movie off because...
That was another one of those studio things. They insisted there had to be a female love interest in the movie.
Yeah, a female love interest that has, what is it, not telekinetic? She's... could talk telepathic. We saw it in Friday the 13th, the series. We saw it in fucking Freddy. Like, there's always some woman with some kind of telekinetic fucking powers. She has to be there because, of course, why not? We're already in the realm of, like, unbelievable shit going on. We might as well just throw that factor. But she's actually the one that's recounting everything that's happened to Mike and Reggie, and how she's also been tracking them and also tracking the tall man, and how she feels like he's getting closer and closer to her, the tall man.
Yeah.
So, Mike is having, like, wet dreams about her. Coincidentally, her name is Elizabeth. And I say that because obviously that's my full name. And, here's Elizabeth, telekinetic, of course you can't, telepathic.
Yeah,
you can't have...
telekinetic, that would be ridiculous.
Whatever. You can't have a telepathic... anyone. She has to have blonde hair and blue eyes. She has to have that angel because she's innocent. She doesn't even get it on with Mike in the scene where it's like, okay, everyone's gonna get it on in this scene because, why not? The poor guy, I don't even know if Mike even lost his virginity. It's rough times for Mike, I have to say. He hungry, he a virgin, and his whole family dead. And that's messed up. I mean, why even keep on living? I guess that's why. He's like, I have nothing to lose because I can't even get a hamburger or get laid up in here. I might as well just spend all my time traveling trying to find this fucking 7-foot fucking old man in a fucking suit because I have to kill him. That's all he does. That just seems like unbelievable to me that this is what he's doing with his time, but fine. Take it.
So, they stop at the cemetery, see what's going on because they think the tall man might be at this particular cemetery. They go into one of the crypts, and as you pointed out, there are millions of candles lit that have just recently been lit in the crypts. Like,
who lit the candles? In a red hallway, okay? It's a red hallway with sexy candles that are lit. They've just been lit. The candlesticks are white, okay?
And as I pointed out, it's obviously the girl that's in there, because they find a girl who looks suspiciously like Elizabeth.
But it's not her.
It's not her. Because
so you're saying her humpback ass because...
She turns out to have a hump on her back that whips out a face that looks a little like the tall man, just rips out of her back, and it's like, you play a good game, boy. It's like, so maybe that was it. She was obviously like a minion of... Yeah, see? You did yourself in with your coughing there.
I'm a little under the weather. I'm recuperating from... excuse me, illness. So there will be a lot of coughing in this podcast.
But, yeah, so...
So she has a crazy thing in her back.
She was a minion of the tall man, so she knew they were coming. She lit all the candles. She made it all like warm and inviting, so it would kind of lower his guard. And hopefully, then maybe the tall man face that's going to jump out of her back would be able to bite his off. I don't know. That's what I'm guessing.
I don't know. I'm going to tell you right now. They're not even part of a union. These dwarfs like smushed down, like crave, like dead people, whatever the fuck they are. Like they have no union. They got no benefits. But out here, cold, naked, afraid, like now they gotta deal with fire and light fucking candles. Like they're about to like have a fucking romantic fucking dinner. Like this is bullshit right now. I'm like quitting. I'm done with you, tall man. Like I'm done. I'm gonna go live my life in the hot fucking desert in my fucking robes, Ewok style. Like
shoved into a barrel, then you're thrown into another dimension, and they put you in a fucking Jawa outfit, and then send you back into the other dimension. No, you don't have rights. You don't have thoughts. You're just doing what you're told. Okay.
I guess fine.
You're one step below a Walmart worker.
I couldn't with the fucking candles on the wall. I mean, I was just like, okay. So now we have, and then do they even have thumbs? Like now they're lighting things. So that's happening. So now alas, it's not Elizabeth. Even though it looks like her, she looks terrified. That's the other thing that kind of threw me off because it's like she's genuinely afraid. Like that bit is like, oh shit, this is her. Like they got her and they're using, but it was like the image in Mike's mind of her that the tall man was able to use because
he's a master manipulator.
They don't really say like verbally that I remember, especially in this movie, but the tall man and him have some kind of fucking connection.
Yeah.
Which, okay, fine. So yeah.
This is also where they're going through, like in this building, he finds a body laid on the slab. This naked woman is laid on there, and then when he's looking at her, he turns around and she's gone. Like, that'd be a thing right off the bat. Like, okay, she's gone.
And we never see this very naked woman again. I mean, she's like...
No, we do see this very naked woman again because she happens to be the hitchhiker that they pick up in a little bit. Remember?
But no, I don't, because her hair was like mad short, like Pat Benatar laying on that damn slab. It wasn't long.
Behind her head.
Okay, fine.
But so... Yeah, that's what...
I guess the titties matched. They were very small, so I guess
that's the first thing he says later is like, hey, Reg, I saw her in my dreams. Because it turns out this whole thing in the cemetery was a dream, which is why the candles could have been lit and everything, because it was all just a creepy dream that he was having.
It was all a dream.
Here comes the rain. Let's add some ambiance to the Phantasm podcast.
So yeah, okay, so then it was all a dream. So now we're like... classic Coscarelli, like it's a dream. This is all a dream. Which part of the movie's a dream? Is it this part? Is it this other part? Okay, fine.
Okay, we got it. Dreams. So then we finally cut to Elizabeth, where her grandfather has just died, and wouldn't you know it, the tall man just happens to be there at the funeral home, ready to collect the body. He's already compacting it down and sending it off to Dimension X or wherever it is to be turned into one of his little servants. And the priest, who has apparently been allowing this to happen for a little while, but he starts to have second thoughts about it, is like, yeah, I'm kind of regretting doing this with the tall man. I really wish I hadn't been helping him out. He decides to put a dagger. He has this special ceremonial dagger, like the kind they used to kill Damien. He stabs the grandpa through the heart with it. The grandma sees it, faints, and then that's the last time we really see Grandma, because she's definitely going to get shipped off to Dimension X.
Yeah, for real.
Reggie and Michael and
Liz.
No.
Oh, Hitchhiker Girl.
Hitchhiker Alchemy, or Kimmy, spelled Chemy, Kimmy. That was just too cute for words right there. They decide to stop, and like she's like, hey, my uncle's got a bed and breakfast over here. We'll just stop there. Bed and breakfast is, of course, like boarded up. Everything in the town is boarded up. The only people that live there apparently are the grandparents. Everyone else seems to have abandoned the place.
They're dead.
Except for the people across the street who, when they see Mike and everybody pull up, they immediately pull the shutters down because, that'll protect you from robbers. So they break into the bed and breakfast and set everything up. They set their traps up. I love when they put, like, a hand grenade and a beer can on the window. Like, one window downstairs, it shows them booby trap. Maybe they booby trapped them all, I don't know, but it only showed them do one. They put a hand grenade next to the window with a string on it, so if you lift the window up, it just blows up. But then my favorite part later is that thing explodes, and they go, oh, looks like he had a cat. Oh. So did the cat just play with the string and pull the pin out?
Of course the cat did.
But yeah, they set a shotgun up at the door with like a string on it, so if you open the door,
they Home Alone the shit out of that house.
Yeah, they Home Aloned it before Home Alone. And, that's... they decide they're going to go look at the cemetery after that. They leave Kimmy there. Because, you just met this girl. You don't want to take her in the cemetery murdering people just yet. So, that's when Kimmy, she's been trying to find her grandmother who's disappeared from the house. She's roaming around the cemetery. She runs into the priest, and whoops, the tall man is there, and he releases the spears. Who immediately, I love the part where the priest is standing there and the spear flies by him and puts out the little buzzsaw and just cuts his ear off.
And then he's just standing there like holding his ear like, guy, lay down, do something. Don't just stand there. Everyone just stands there when they fucking see this thing coming. It's not coming at the fucking speed of light where it's so fast you can't react to it, because we've seen other characters dodge it many times. Yep. So it's just like a pick and choose of like who they decide is going to be the one to get it. And then they just, go through that whole thing. But... I mean, to move the whole thing along, like, obviously, we come to the part, like, Mike finds out that this is, like, a dimensional thing, right? Like, there's a portal, the spheres are used as keys. I know, but we're, like, fast-forwarding to the whole thing. So the sphere is a key, and the key's opening the door to a portal, which is the portal to where they're throwing, wherever he's coming from.
Yeah, it's the room from the first one that they also had, what they've seen, where it's like the room, you go in there, and there's like the two look like tuning fork things set up, and once you travel through that, then you're in the other dimension.
Now, let me tell you. Now, the tall man's going to small town. I know I mentioned, like, why didn't they just go to a large town and just forget about this and just move on with their life? Like, they know they're not going to go to, like, Miami, Florida. Like, then just move to fucking Miami, Florida. Stop going around trying to get this guy, because he's going to win every single time. There's no point. Be worried when he's going to the big towns. That's when you got to, like, be worried, They were, like, in some freaking small town in Oregon, which is not even a real town. Like, we're gonna Paragould or some shit in Oregon. So that was a town where they found Elizabeth, where she lived with her grandparents, and they find that out, and then they're getting sucked in. There is a being that kind of, it's very tarred, like just burned. Whether it's because it's a hot thing, that body that's kind of like going towards the portal. And it's grabbing on to...
Yeah, that's one of the things. Remember, it came out of one of the barrels had popped open, and one of the little dwarves was in there coming out. Like, he's already packed in the slime that they pack him in.
Yeah.
They send him.
I don't know why. And I don't know if this is because I'm having, like, a weird faint memory from the other one, but I always thought, like, now looking at it now recently, I'm like, was that Mike? I mean, not Mike. Was that Jody? Was it Jody popping out like coming out of the can, because Jody, you know, obviously got murdered by the tall man.
Well, did he though? Because, you know, he pops up later on in different movies.
He does. And that is problem number 500 for me for the movie. But yes, he does pop up. But I don't know. I have a feeling like, because the whole thing is like the tall man is using Jody to like lure Mike, because that's Mike's weakness, is his love for Jody.
Yeah.
You know, that brotherly love and whatnot, and the guilt that he has and all that he has to unpack, and probably why he was in the insane asylum for fucking 7 years. I'm sure that's obviously added to what was going on with him there. But you know, they all attacked the tall man, not the green man. Wrong movie.
The green man.
The tall man. In the whole showdown scene where they're doing all kinds of things, and you know, they're attacking him, Liz is attacking him, they're all fighting because the portal's sucking Reggie and Mike into it, and
they've all had to fight the spears before, where it's pretty cool. There's a great sequence I love where they're running from the one spear, they keep slamming doors, and the camera just shows you like you follow like the point of view of the spears, it smashes through the doors.
Yeah.
I always love that scene where they're just closing doors on it, and it just keeps coming through after them.
Shad pointed out there's a scene where one of the morticians is like bagging like a cremated, like they're cremating someone, and they're putting like the dust in the bag, and the bag reads Sam Raimi.
Yeah, Mr. Sam Raimi.
And
male, 170 pounds. I wonder if Sam Raimi appreciated his weight being put on there, if that was accurate at the time or not. There's also one of the graves in the cemetery is Alex Murphy, which of course is RoboCop. So
there's
a few weird little appearances in there. I wonder if Peter Weller was a fan of it, or if they just liked RoboCop and wanted to include that in there.
Maybe, but the Sam Raimi thing, the whole movie is very Sam Raimi. Like, I don't know if that was like Coscarelli's like homage to him, like a nod, you know, but it has that campy feel. The kills are, you know, some of them are campy, like some of the things that happen. That whole scene that you just said about the sphere going door to door, that's very Evil Dead, you know, very evil. I think literally did the same thing like in the Evil Dead.
Greg Nicotero worked on the effects on this.
Yes.
So I'm sure that's also part of it too. There's, you know, friends of them working on it. It's like, hey, we're going to go ahead and shove this guy in there because he's our buddy.
The sad thing is, this is like a lot of people's favorite. Like, this is their favorite movie in the whole like franchise. This is your favorite film, right?
Yeah, this one. 2 and 3 are probably my favorites of it.
I don't have a favorite, as you all may or may not know. I'm like, whatever, it's fine.
See, I saw this movie under, like, it was, I might have told you before, and I mentioned this when we covered this a long time ago on a Lost podcast. When this movie opened up in Joplin, it opened up in a theater. There was only 2 screens. And it was showing Phantasm on one of them. And they did a promotion where they were going to give away, like, a poster for the movie. And so you show up, you get in there, and they've got a big net full of balloons over the seats. And before the movie starts, the guy comes out and is like, release the balloons. They cut the balloons loose, and then whatever balloon had like a little ticket in it, that was the one that won the thing. It was all silver balloons, like the spear.
Oh, that's cool.
Drop it all down over there, then you got to pop the balloon and find out if it's got it in there. I did not get the poster. But it was kind of a cool thing, like to just, you know, you're there and they just release a bunch of silver balloons down on it.
The cool days when theaters were allowed to do cool things, and, you know, that experience is forever lost. It's so fucking sad, because it used to be super cool when things would happen, you know, when you're watching a movie or before you're watching a movie, when they used to have like those cool promo things.
And when you could dress up to go to the movies, you know, like the horror movies, people would show up dressed. The sci-fi movies, of course, that gets ruined by a psycho.
Of course, it just takes one or a couple of psychos to ruin everyone's fucking fun, which sucks. It really sucks, because it just adds to the whole experience of it all. If you're into that. If you're not into that, just, you know, wear your clothes and just go. But some, you know, a lot of people do like that whole like experience of it, and that's forever gone. Like that, like so many things, you know, that's never going to come back.
You know, also this was the film that a friend of mine who wasn't quite as into horror movies as I was showing him different horror movies and everything. And the next year, when it would have been prom. This is how we spent prom. We watched Phantasm II and I think Aliens and a couple of more movies. We just spent the night watching movies.
Yeah, that's cool.
So it was way better than the prom was going to be.
Oh, I'm sure.
So,
I wish I would have done that at my prom.
Yeah. So, I've always enjoyed this one. Like, despite what you say, the only way I could love this movie more is if they, like, were drinking Dr. Pepper while they were driving around in the car and had a fucking bumper sticker on the car that said, "Real men set for stun." That would be the only way I would enjoy this movie better. Because I love this movie. Like, this would, to me, would be like the template for, like, a Phantasm TV series. Where it's like, I don't know, two guys drive around in a fancy 70s car and, like, solve various supernatural or suspicious-looking mysteries from town to town. A show like that could be a success, don't you think?
It could be a success for
Supernatural.
Like 15 years? It could be a 15-year success or however long that fucking lasted?
15 years.
Well, I was on the money. That makes me sad that I actually did
that show lasted 15 years.
It's literally Phantasm II. It's literally that show is Phantasm II.
Yes, two guys driving around. They even have special guns.
They just fucking replaced interdimensional demons and dwarves with fucking archangels, angels, demons, all that kind of shit.
Yeah. So if we can get 15 seasons...
Oh, they put a religious thing on it. That's what made it popular. Boom.
If we can get 15 seasons of Supernatural, I think we can probably get at least one season of a Phantasm show. Come on.
I mean, is it necessary? No. Like...
look, the movies are done.
Strengthen the whole purpose of the Tall Man. Like, what is his purpose?
That's what I was going to say. This would be a great thing, I think. You could reboot this as a series, and you just get a little bit better, a little bit tighter writing on what's going on. Get some people in to kind of like, hey, Podcast really came up with great ideas for this, and I love the second one, but I think, like, there was so long in between all of the movies for the most part that, and he's even said, like, he struggled to come up with ideas to keep it going. So there were a lot of other people. There were a lot of supposed sequels to this that were supposed to be, like, Roger Avery, that worked with Tarantino. One of his movies was supposed to do a sequel to this. There were a lot of people that were involved. They were supposed to make sequels to this, and it just always fell through. It was one of those things that you were always hearing about the next sequel, and somebody big was involved with it, but it never seemed to happen. Because it was just one of those things that it never quite made enough money that any studio was willing to, even though this one only cost like $2 million, $2 or $3 million, and it made its money back, it wasn't the runaway hit that they wanted. Because all these studios want to put in $2 million and make $100.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of movies that have done, have put not as much money in and have come back with a great, massive success. And I don't want to say that's what ruins it for other independent filmmakers, but it's really like the luck of the draw. Like, you just don't know what it's going to be at that moment that's going to make it big, And to think that you're going to get Marvel fucking numbers, like, these are horror movies. You're not going to get crazy fucking numbers.
Or you were going to get, this was before Marvel, but you still weren't going to get huge numbers with this.
Yeah, I'm just saying in total, like, in the culmination of, like
I think
all
you
there's
spend $2
horror.
million on a movie and you get $10 million back. You've made 5 times your budget back. I think you're doing okay.
I get the whole, like... So, maybe if it was more, is it the mix of the interdimensional thing and then the whole, like, was it all a dream? It's all in his head. That's the part I really don't care for. Is it one or the other? You can't have both. I mean, obviously you do have both, but that's what makes it inconsistent for me. Like, at the end of this one, the girl rips the side of her fucking face off, and then it's like, wait, was this a dream? Because we just said that one part was a dream, but now is this a dream? Because we just saw them kill him.
This is to me, this is the Halloween 3 conundrum of it. Was she, like, as we see, like, Alchemy, Kimmy, she's there, she's having sex with Reggie, they go back to have the final confrontation with the tall man, they tell her, like, just head out on your own, we're gonna... So... Yeah,
was she evil the whole time?
Was she evil the whole time, or did she, when she stopped and found the hearse and, like, hot-wired it, was one of the guys in the back of the hearse and then, like, did something to her and turned her... It's the Halloween 3 conundrum. How long was the girl a robot? Was she a robot the whole time? Was she a robot once they got to the place? No one ever completely answers that. Hell, we even saw them recently and no one could answer the question of how long she was a robot.
That's very true, but I'm going to tell you right now, and whatever it may cause, may get flack for this, whatever... I'm going to go out there and say I feel like Tom Atkins, okay, the actor, obviously, his character would have known he was fucking a robot. There's no way that the Shamrock fucking whatever was that good that they literally made the most amazing robot vagina back in the 80s. I can't see it. There's no fucking way. Now, if you told me that Sheen Bushi was a robot like right after he banged her, okay, cool. Like, she didn't even have fembot titties. Like, we saw her in the late... Like, she wasn't a robot at that point. There's no way that he had sex with her and she was a robot.
See, that's what I'm thinking with this. I'm thinking, even Reggie, Reggie's lonely on the road. I'm thinking if she was a corpse the whole time, I'm thinking Reggie might have noticed that while they were having sex.
Maybe.
Because she was pretty aggressive about it. She was not just laying there and taking it. She was riding him cowboy.
I think she was in on it the whole time. She just waited for the moment where they were the most vulnerable. They felt like they had to win. And then, but was it a dream or not? That's the whole thing, because it ends like a dream. A lot of these sequences in this film are very dreamlike. Like, they're like, oh, okay, that's kind of weird. Like, was it a dream or was it not? That's the question. That's where I have an issue with. Like, and if they remake this, there's only one angusscrimm. He's unfortunately gone. Like, how they... That's like saying, oh, let's replace Kane from freaking Poltergeist 2. There's only going to be... Unfortunately, yes, we know now... Well, not that we know now, but we know at the time the actor, Julian Beck, he unfortunately was very ill, which gave him that look, what he looked like in that film, which is really creepy. You can't replace that guy.
I'm going to tell you right now, Doug Jones is out there. If you put Doug Jones in a black suit and sit him up there and have him be creepy, he would be an amazing tall man.
He would, but I felt like he would be more like Slender Man, because he's very thin framed. He needs to bulk up. Like, give him some oatmeal, give him some, like, a lot of, like, meat. Like, he needs to bulk up, because angusscrimm, not that he had, like, stature, but also he had build. I don't want to be able to blow down my guy. Like,
here's the thing,
there you go, you're blown down.
When you look into it, angusscrimm was really only 6 feet tall. He wasn't like giant.
But that's pretty big, though.
It's tall, but then they put lifts to these shoes, and they said they had him wear a suit that was a little smaller.
Yeah.
So it looked like he was, kind of like ready to bust
movie
out
fucking magic is what you're saying.
Yeah. That's why if you notice a lot of times they kind of shoot it from odd angles where you can't really see exactly how tall he is.
Yeah. But they did a great job. I mean, all the actors in the film did a fantastic job, The
effects are great.
The effects are great.
You get the gold spear in this one that will come into play later on.
I give it 2 knives.
No, it's a 4-knifer, and you know it. You're just
4 knives.
Come on, this is amazing.
This is not a fucking 4-knife movie.
Oh, but it is.
No, I disagree.
I told you before I couldn't love this movie more if they were drinking Dr. Pepper. That's the only way it would get a better a rating for me. I'd have to add a 5th knife.
I love you, Don Coscarelli. I love Bubba Hotep. That's my favorite Don Coscarelli film. Whether that says something about me or not, it's just Bruce Campbell as Elvis is just fucking classic. And then, like, the whole, like, mixing of the personalities. I just can't. Both actors did a fucking amazing job in that film. This movie, on the other hand, it's a 2-knifer for me. Like, it's not going to be more than 2 knives. That's cool. That's your favorite movie. You love it. It's fine. It has a whole bunch of holes for me. Doesn't do it for me. I hope never to see this movie again. Like,
don't worry, the 40th anniversary is coming up. We'll watch it in 5 more years. We'll be watching it again. And next year is the 30th anniversary of Phantasm II. So we're going to be definitely covering that.
Oh god, and it gets worse. It gets worse. If you thought Phantasm II was bad, if anyone out there has that feeling, wait until you get to Phantasm 3.
3-knife movie.
No, like I was like, oh, he becomes a cobbler or whatever. Like, oh, he's a doctor. I'm like, whatever. He goes back in time. He's a man now, but he was also a man that was trying to find. It's just like, just stop. Just take a nap, and then come back with some better ideas, because this is just not good. And I want my money back for Ravager. I haven't gone over it. I want my $10 back. It was too much. It was worth, that movie was worth $1.50. Like, not even free. Like,
you can't blame Don Coscarelli for that one, because he didn't direct it.
What? But he had something to do with it. His name was on it. That was enough for me. Imagine me in the mail. I get a fucking thing from Don Coscarelli for $1.50. That would be fucking classic. Classic. But thank you so much for joining us in this amazing episode of the continuation of our Aliens of '88 with Phantasm II. Stay tuned to the horror.
And now, folks, it's time to say goodnight. We sincerely appreciate your patronage,
and hope we've succeeded in bringing you an enjoyable evening of entertainment. Please drive home carefully and come back again soon. Good night.